Well, I think we can do that. Yeah, David can talk about his thing. In fact, here's what we're going to do. We're going to say to all the fans, Happy New Year.
Yeah.
Welcome to 2025. And here we go.
That's-
This is 2OF Entertainment.
Wow. If I wasn't on acid earlier, I am now. Oh, wait, we have to do a close up.
There you go.
A happy and healthy look at that. That is very nice. Happy and healthy New Year to all the fans.
Happy New
So
Year,
there you have it.
everybody. 2025. Here we go.
Wow. Who knew?
Rocking and rolling.
I know, right? Rock and David's
Oh, we
left.
lost him already. That's a
Yeah,
good
yeah,
start. That was a good start.
you can't,
That was a good
the
year.
New Year. These older people, they just can't handle the New Year. So,
That's it. That's as far
I'm a,
as he made it. The
yeah, David,
2025. Oh, no, he's
you
back.
coming
He's back.
back or you're leaving us again? I don't even think that. I think
Oh,
David's
no,
just
he's not.
AI.
He's not.
He's
He's
AI.
not.
All right, there you
He's
go.
not. He's not happy. Can we? Yeah,
There you go.
actually, can we get the AI avatar version of David?
Yes, we're going to bring the AI version of David back in a little while. There he is,
Uh,
the AI version of David. Are you back now, David?
he doesn't know.
David's having
Hello,
technical
hello. Is that
difficulties. I
me?
can tell.
Is Mr. Anagram is
Well,
not
Mr.
sure.
Anagram is like, yeah, he's SOL right now.
Is what is
So,
it? What does he tell you? View agile glory male god.
yeah, let's just put that right there. It's whatever
What
whatever
is
his
that all
anagram is.
about?
Do you?
What is that all about even?
I have no idea.
Right,
We'll have to ask
right
him.
now he is in a whole other world, isn't he?
Yeah, he can't hear us or anything.
He
We could
can't
talk
hear
about
us.
it.
He doesn't
Yeah,
know that we can see him. We could say
yeah. He
anything we
thinks
like about him.
as long as
It's,
he doesn't pick his nose, we're good because we're going to use that. If he does, we're going to use it as a short.
that
So
has to be a
anyway,
clip, doesn't it? Okay,
yeah,
well,
right.
whilst he's sorting himself out, how's the
Yeah,
new
there you
year,
go.
the start to the new year been for you, Stephen?
It has been wonderful. We have all the shows are like up and running, including this one. The cigar show, I think, what was the first show of the new year was the Lost Dollar Business Club, and then the cigar show, and they went off fabulously, and
Yeah.
everybody seems to like what the channel's doing, and it grows, and yeah, we're getting there.
Well,
And
last year you hit an amazing milestone with the
yeah,
100,000 subscribers, which,
yeah,
again, congratulations. I mean, what
thank you.
terrific, terrific milestone. What an achievement. So, what's the target for 2025, dare I ask?
105,000. No, I have
Come on.
three more people than we got last. I don't. That's an interesting thing.
Because it has been a record growth. I mean,
Yeah,
honestly, to get
we
100,000 in what, the 3 years,
3 years.
is it?
Yeah,
3 years, isn't it? Yeah.
3 years. This is our
Yeah.
fourth year. We're in our fourth season, as they say. I feel
Yeah.
like a television station. We're in our fourth season, kids. I think if we're going to see where it goes with the steady growth. As we add more stuff, we have our staples like you and everyone else, and it's finding a home. I
Yeah.
think we did really good in the beginning because it was new and it was like exploded and no one was doing the concept of, if you will, a television station on YouTube. And now
Yeah.
that I think the people have found it, it's kind of finding its home. Like the other month we were looking at our people that unsubscribe to subscribe, and it's like I think we're finding a good foundation. So hopefully towards the back end of this year we'll start exploding again.
And it is
So,
quite promising because, as somebody who spends a lot of time studying my own stats, I know that it's about
right.
90% plus is actually not subscribers that are actually
Yeah.
viewing. So the potential, so if you're hitting 100,000 subs, then the potential of viewers is staggering because it's generally about 90% that are actually not even subscribers, but they're watching the content.
So we always joke that we're the short channel.
Mm.
And I don't mean in height, except when Rachel's on, because she's like, she's all of 5 foot nothing. Actually, she's 4 foot 11. She hates when we say that. And the other thing with Rachel, I asked her this question, and I'll get to your thing, is that we asked her if a short person waves, what that means, and she didn't know. I told her it's called a microwave. Anyway, so when she sees this,
Oh
she'll be
dear.
killer. I'll be getting hate mail.
Absolutely, yeah. We
Yeah.
can't say
So
anything. We can't say people are short, tall, fat, slim, or anything anymore.
I
So,
can because I'm a New York Jew and I don't care. So like I care. But yeah, if I insult you, you'll get over it.
yeah,
But the thing is, what we're finding is that 80% of our viewers, whether it's for the regular programming or shorts, are all first time brand new people. And then out of that 80%, we usually get 1 to 5% that start subscribing. And it just depends on, like, even when they see this, because this comes out once a month. So on your shorts, even though we have AI do it, we make the shorts try to last throughout the month.
Right.
So by the time we're out of view, the new month comes up and we're like, hey, we have more short.
Right.
But what we're finding is people just they enjoy the shorts, and some of them then they go down that rabbit hole. We get others that enjoy the shows and they go down that rabbit hole, and then we get some that enjoy everything. But 80% go to the shorts, and then from the shorts we get get subscribers, and then we get a couple of them that'll actually go to the full length. But I think, as we've talked about before, I think a lot of people, their attention span is no bigger than a gnat. And I think, when we put out shorts no longer than 55 seconds, and some are shorter, I don't think people can go that long. And like, you can look, as you can see the percentage of what's watched. And, even like a 40-second short, they watch like 62%. I'm like, seriously, you can't make it the other, like, whatever seconds. And then we had one short the other day that had 13,000% view.
Yeah.
And I was like, real? So people must have watched it over and
over again. Yeah.
And I realized it was a 7-second short, and they wanted to make sure they didn't miss anything. And I was like, you got to be kidding.
It's really weird, because it's all what people like YouTube and Instagram and TikTok are doing. It's kind of contradictory, because they're all about short form content, not so much YouTube, but the other two. They've actually increased the time that's available to the shorts. Because now even on YouTube, the shorts are now 3 minutes. And to one extent, part of you is like, okay, well, let's use up that 3 minutes. But it's like, well, is that still a short then? Because if it's 3 minutes long, it's just a video, isn't it?
But see, now if we put a short out that's 1 minute and 1 second, what I have found is if we do a short that's 1 minute and 1 second, YouTube puts it into the video category. It doesn't keep it in the short category.
They've changed it now.
It? Okay.
Yeah. Not a Happy Bunny is back.
Okay.
I wonder if you can hear us. Wave if you can hear us.
I can now.
All right.
I'd like to thank StreamYard for not fixing this particular bug.
There you go.
When I go and test my
shout out to StreamYard, everybody.
Yeah. So when I go out of the studio and test my earbuds, the sound part of it, I can hear all you guys talking, and I can hear the music come back into the show. Nothing. Really? So the credits, for some reason or another, dumped my audio.
So basically, they wanted you to be able to hear it, but not be in it.
Right. Well,
I wonder if there's a message in there somewhere.
That's the story of my life, that is. But,
well, here's the story of my life.
There you go.
There you go. That's the story of Daddy's life.
New Year's celebrations happening all over again.
We're still celebrating right here.
Give the boy a button, and off he goes.
There he goes. Yeah. Where are these buttons anyway? I don't have those. Where are they?
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
Are they in the settings or whatever?
You go up into the green on your laptop where it shows that you're recording on the green light. If you click that, and when you click your green light that shows you're recording, it goes into reactions. And then you hit the little sidebar, and there it all is.
Oh my God!
There you go.
Look at that.
And then sometimes this works. Yeah, there you go.
I can do a dad dance. That's crazy.
Unfortunately, it won't let me do it for other people, which I'm very upset about, because I would love to do that for David all the time.
That's right.
Like every time he talks, I just want to make the cloud over it.
That would be funny. So what's
that would be?
So now we're discovering oh my God! Look at that's weird.
Yeah,
that's just weird. I don't like that.
Oh, there's other ones that David showed me where we can make these round. We can do like these. They don't have to be square like they are. We can make them round. We can do this. There's tons of things. So yeah, there you go. There's the balloons.
Balloons. That's so weird.
Well, which is strange, because I haven't found any of these myself. So.
There you go. But it's the magic of AI. So whilst you were away figuring out what you were doing, David, we were talking about the fantastic progress that you guys have made, and we were saying, look at that, we're roundels now. We just push the button.
We could go back the way we were. That would be awesome.
So
we go back to the squares. I feel like the Brady Bunch.
Can we
go back to the squares?
There you go. Here we go. Squares you wanted.
The other squares would be good. The other squares would be really good. So there we go.
I feel like I'm out of focus still. What's going on?
No, you are.
Oh, there you go. You're in focus now.
Oh, that's better. Yeah, I like that. So we were congratulating you on the incredible progress and wondering what the milestone to be achieved this year would be, and secondly, like how we would get there. But also we were talking about the shorts and how it's all working, and interestingly, we were discussing AI, obviously. Now, but AI, it's just, I mean, it's staggering. It's scary the progress it's making. Before we get into that, something weird just today, because I was trying to get online banking for something, and I called them up, and then I thought, you'd have to go through the whole ID process and this and that, and they said, well, we just need to record your voice, and I said, we need to what? They said, yeah, we use voice ID now, so we just, so we'll give you a phrase, and you'll say it 3 times after the beep, and we'll record that. And I said, okay, fine, so I'll do that, and after that, I said, how do you know that that's me? Because with all the apps out there that can replicate voices and stuff like that, how? And she just smugly laughed and she said, "We have AI."
No, let me tell you. I will. Now I can tell you this because we have money in an AI company, called HUROAI, and they've actually been on our show. HUROAI actually has from what I understand from their patent and their patent attorneys, the only voice protected AI on the planet, because it uses 7 layers and it's too technical because 7 layers, blah, 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 blah. But anyway, if you use their AI and you do what that lady just asked you to do, and I record you, and I now call your bank and try to use your voice, but I'm not you, their technology will know that it's not you and stop it dead in its track.
She said that.
The bank, they don't have it.
Yeah. But she said that. She said exactly that. She said even if somebody recorded this and played it back, it would still recognize it was a recording and it wouldn't accept it.
But here's why we found, so the people who invented this, that work for this company, I asked them, because I was like, yeah, but, and they're like, because most security, including your bank, uses 3 or 4 different layers of AI security. I guess they use 7. And since they developed the tech, their 7 layers make sure that nobody can do that. Because AI is getting to a point now where it's really good, and so my question to them is, well, how does that work with whether it's a tape recorder or whether it's an app? And there's these nuances apparently that the app or a tape recorder cannot do. So they may get through like your bank's first, second, and third, and maybe the 4th layer, but these other 3 or 4 layers that I guess Huro has, you can't get through, and they've tried it.
That's it. Because I did ask her, and she said, "This is why we made you record it 3 times, because she said it three times. Every time you say it, it'll be the same phrase, but it'll be slightly different.
Gotcha.
And that way, we'll be able to understand exactly what your voice is. So we'll know, even if somebody repeats you exactly, we'll know that's not you. So that's weird, But again, this whole thing with
but of
AI,
course, that's all rubbish, isn't it? Because she just tells you that because she's read that on the script.
Well, maybe, but one would hope that being a bank and being that's access to your money. but having said that, I was looking at, so I mean, like 3 of us could all be, AI right now for anybody knows, right? But I was looking into this because I wanted to, because I was feeling really, like I said, I was under the weather. I had flu for 2 weeks, but I wanted to do some content, and I said, I can't face a camera and what have you, So I looked at a couple of these apps. And I downloaded the things where they recreate you. So they basically, you give them one of your previous videos, and then basically they'll recreate that, and then you feed them a script, and then they just read the script as if it's you. And I thought, oh, that's quite handy, because then that doesn't have to be me. I can just put the script in, and I'll just do that. But it was kind of weird because it was like almost me, but not quite me. And what really gave it away was
what would have been really weird then if it had been just like you. How weird would that be?
Well, the thing is, visually, it pretty much was, apart from a slight sort of, glitches here and there.
That you were a black woman.
The problem was I was speaking with an American accent. The whole time. Really, really American accent.
Well, that's what you always do.
My voice, but, it wasn't.
That's what you always do. So
I know. I know. But it was very American. It was just like,
it'd be easy to, Steve would be really easy for that then, because he always speaks with an American accent.
I always speak with an American accent, so I can use that. So, I mean, other than it really wasn't you, because it portrayed you as a black woman with red hair. But other than that, it was spot on, I think. So
no, but this is the thing, because it was like, so I fed it a video, like one of these videos that I'm recording with you right now. I fed it this. So it had the same background, it had the same me, same clothes, same everything. You know, so basically it was me.
Right. Well, you sent us
Yeah,
that one thing that we've tried that you said, hey, you can create videos or shorts with it. I
Yeah.
don't think that was it, but I tried it and it was very interesting. But it was like, I would do things, you go, oh no, you got to do this. And I was like, I do that. And no, try, you have to do 800 steps later. It was like, okay,
Yeah.
now I can produce something for you. And I was like, I could have just done the show.
So this is the other thing, because obviously, like, one of the things I sent you was what I discovered. Is it LM notebooks on?
Yes, the LM Notebooks
that's the
is the
one,
one
right?
that you sent us. Yeah, yeah.
So
Good,
I send you
good.
that, and what you can do, you know, if viewers haven't tried this, it's quite amazing. You can take a link of something, you take a Wikipedia link, or take a document or a dossier, or whatever, put it into this thing, and then press a button on the top right that generates a conversation. It basically generates a podcast. And there's two people that will take that topic and will talk about it as if they're two people. Like, you know, so there's a guy and a woman, and very American, but they're just talking about it. And it becomes a podcast.
Right.
And it's literally like, and there's all these ums and ahs and inflections, and hey, what do you think about that? And oh, you know, it's a lot of, and it's incredibly realistic. It is scarily realistic.
Right.
Now, what they've now introduced, and this is since I sent it to you, they've introduced an interactive button. So you could start this off, let them start the conversation, and hit join, and then they go, oh, looks like somebody's joining us now, and you butt into the conversation, and then they react to what you say. I mean, honestly, it's getting to a level where it's already mind-blowing.
That is crazy. That is just, well, in a few years,
it's
the
going
overlords
to elbow us. Yeah, it's going to elbow us all out of this completely, isn't it?
Well, this is the thing. It's like,
people will be doing shows in their lunchtime, and you know, then
they are.
Well, you can. Well, you could generate. Well, this is the thing, because this is weird, because you put a dossier or document in there, you press the generate button, and it will produce it in something like, you know, maybe 3 to 4 minutes max it will take to do it.
Yeah.
But it'll give you a 20-30 minute podcast.
Right.
How has it done that in 3 minutes, you know?
Is it free, or you have to use, because all this stuff all of a sudden, oh, you have to use credits for that?
No, it's free. That's free.
I sent you the link, David. It's all free.
Yeah, it's a Google. I've played around with it.
Yeah, it's actually
now David's going to start playing around with it. He's going to be sending me podcasts. Be like, listen, here's 700 podcasts for this year. You don't have to do anything anymore.
Well, this is the thing. You would take those voices, and then if you then make those to using these avatar programs and create characters, and then if you're able to sync it, that's it. Then you have, like, you could, in an afternoon, you could probably create a year's worth of podcasts.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
On all kinds of subjects, just like that, which is bonkers.
You know, but the interesting thing, though, is because it's the overlords, you know, AI, it's not people. And it may be very interesting, but it's still not, like, they're not going to laugh, I don't think. There's not going to be inflections. There's not going to be sarcasm. You know, it's going to be... Really?
There is. Well, maybe not sarcasm, but there's sort of human reactions in terms of surprise and laughter and humor. It actually is in there. And
that may be easier
maybe irony and sarcasm is maybe next level, but
next
I think
level.
that may be easier to do as if you're listening to it as an audio, but to get those little facial mimics and and the body movements, we're still quite a way away from that.
Yeah.
But you know, maybe a year, 2 years away from that. But once that happens, I mean, you'll have no idea who anybody is.
Yeah.
Well,
at the moment, I have seen on Instagram, I've seen some people using AI versions, which look, but you can tell because the hand movements don't really align with what
the mouth
saying.
and the face. Yeah. There's one that somebody sent me the other day. It was a very attractive Asian girl, and she said hi. On the Instagram, I was like, okay. I'm like, why are you sending me this? And then all of a sudden, it was that my buddy was like, watch this thing. You'll see why I sent it to you. And I'm like, she goes, hi. And she's talking for like 10 seconds. I'm like, I still don't get it. And at the very end, she goes, I was AI generated. I'm not real. I was like, now I know why he sent it to me. And I thought that was fascinating. So the problem YouTube is smart. For the people that are really not into it, we'll just tell you, when we post things, they'll say, does this have any AI generation? Yes or no? So no. But if it says yes, apparently the algorithm puts it out or puts warning labels or whatever differently than if it's non-AI generated.
Yeah.
So, but I just think I would rather watch people be people. I don't think I really want to watch, a robot.
Well, I don't know. I mean, it depends, doesn't it? I mean, if you can generate, like you said, more content, by doing that. If you can provide more
or a
content,
movie. If
movie.
you've got 20,
well,
if you got 20 quid as opposed to having 20 million pounds or 200 million pounds to make a movie, and you can make it for 20 quid in AI. You know,
I mean, I've been seeing quite a lot of these. There's one movie, I don't know if you've seen this one. It's called The Heist, and it was done by Google, and it is quite extraordinary. I mean, I just put a clip of it there so you can see it.
Oh, okay.
So that whole thing is generated by AI.
Wow.
You know, and even as a car guy, when you watch the car chase,
Yeah.
you know, and even like in some movies, the cars don't naturally, they don't move naturally as they should do.
That
But
one's
even
moving
here,
naturally.
did you see the bounce? Did you see the
Yeah.
bounce of this driving in a straight line?
Yeah.
The suspension bounces there.
That's wild.
It's quite extraordinary how that's been done. Now
and all the reflections in the windscreen, which is
exactly.
You remember the night, when everybody's sitting in these make-believe cars on Hollywood, you can always see. Yeah.
No, so the thing is, like you say, even in Hollywood movies, sometimes because they have the cars on platforms and moving, slides and stuff like that, so sometimes it doesn't quite feel natural. But even watching that, even as a car guy, I wouldn't be able to tell the difference. I'd be like, yeah, that's a real car. Because even the way it's just driving along with the suspension on those cars, it's bouncing. You can see that. But the only thing is, when you watch that full movie, the main character, the protagonist, he keeps changing clothes bizarrely. Like, from scene to scene, he's wearing a jacket, then he's wearing a shirt, and it's just so that's where you can see that it's not quite being able to keep consistent with these things. But it's only a matter of time, I reckon. It's only a matter of time.
That's the thing I was reading about at the weekend. Is again that's wonderful. I watched like 15 minutes of a sci-fi thing. It was truly beautiful. How it was all done, the colors, the atmosphere. You think, oh wow, that could be in a cinema. And then you see when they go from one shot to another that they can't, that the AI just struggles with that. It just can't seem to be, exactly the same person, exactly the same clothing to this flip of scene. So it's all right when it's a one-dimensional thing, when if it's just telling that one story. The moment that story moves to the right or to the left and you come back to the storyline, then the right and left projections of that story are fundamentally wrong.
So this is the thing. It's the continuity of the story. But what they're doing with stuff like this, this isn't the latest one actually. I can't find the latest one, but there's a new one as well. But you'll see that's basically Spock. That's Star Trek, and that is Spock. And you'll see, when he does that. And this is entirely, this is not real. None of what you're seeing there is real. As convincing as that looks, Now, and then there was another one they did recently with Kirk in it as well. Now, but the way that they've done that is that it's a mixture of AI and actual humans. And I've seen some other ones as well.
Gold then for the studios. They'll open up their vaults and get all Humphrey Bogart movies out, and all anything.
Well, that's what they went on strike for 2 or 3 years ago. The Actor Guild. That's what they went on strike for. Is that a lot of them in their contracts say that the studios, and Tom Cruise is one of them, because I remember I read an article that he says in his contracts, you're not able to make any AI generation of me ever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
but at some point it will happen.
Yeah,
well, but sure, it's almost inevitable.
I mean, if you can imagine some, Bogart movies or one of the famous things, actors, or James Dean, for instance, who only made a few movies.
Because what they're
all of a sudden, bang, doing this stuff.
Because what they're doing with these ones, so for example, with the Kirk one, and also I've seen another one somewhere where they're just doing a demo of how they're doing it. There's a demo, and you'll see it online. It's available. It's one of the AI generation video things. There's two guys sitting in a cafe talking to each other in a roadside diner, whatever, and they're having this conversation. It's an older guy and a younger guy, and the inflections, the clothing, the movement, everything is, you cannot believe that thing is entirely AI generated. And it is, except for the fact that they actually filmed an actor doing both of those scenes, both of those roles, actually. The same actor did both roles. So all they did is they filmed the actor, they filmed him saying, so that's why the authenticity of the delivery of what they're saying feels real, because it is actually an actor doing it. You know,
Gotcha.
even though it's not his face, it's not actually even his
they
voice.
put an AI skin on him.
Basically, so they turn him into an
Yeah.
old guy, they turn him into a different guy, but it's an actor who's actually delivering the line. So the acting element is there. That's why it feels even more authentic, even though you know that it's not real, but yet it feels real because there's an actor doing it. The actor's doing the lines.
Yeah.
And I think,
Well,
and this is what happened with the latest Star Trek thing, you know.
Going back into your archives then as a film company, my God, there's so much stuff there. If you can pull that all out and then, you know, colorize it and put AI over the top of it.
Well, they've already colorized all the black and whites. They've done that.
Yeah.
That's what Turner Movie Classic did. They did that like 20 years ago.
Yeah,
Like,
but I mean, but to make it look like it's today, not like it's colorized, if you know what I mean.
But you know what's really weird? When they colorized it, it really didn't do it justice to the old black and whites, because back then the sets were like, they were all black and white and they didn't really care what the color is. It was going to be black and white no matter what. So it didn't do justice when they colorized it.
So I found
Oh,
it.
wow.
This is the one I was referring to. So this is where basically, you know, this is the scene that we never got where, you know, Kirk gets to say goodbye to Spock. And, and the fact is that neither of these are real. However, there are actors that were actually doing this role. So what they've done is they've filmed actors doing this.
Okay.
So the emotions are there, the acting is there, you know, but then they've put the faces of Kirk and Spock onto there.
Strangely, Kirk looked plastic and Spock didn't, but maybe because
it's a bit
he was
weird.
supposed to be,
you know,
but having said that, Kirk of that era, you remember this is when they came back with the movies. They did do a lot of makeup on those guys to make them look younger in that era of movies. So that kind of actually still tallies with how they actually did it. So.
So okay, guys. So this is great, and we love it, and we talk about it, and we get all excited. But you know,
what does it mean?
What does it mean? Where's it going to take us? Do you think?
Well, I don't know. I mean, what it means, I think, is an explosion of content. That's for sure. Because suddenly, like in a few years' time, I could be taking my books that I've got there, and I could be turning them into movies. You know, and I could do that myself.
To your benefit, then. Or to who will actually at the end of the next stop down the road? Who's going to be the let's phrase it another way? Who's going to be the first beneficiaries of this? Is it going to be people like yourself who are producing on YouTube, or is it going to be the studios?
I really don't know. Honestly, I don't know if anybody has actually figured out what the business model for this is going to be. Because at the moment, we have an established business model where the entertainment industry works, which obviously Stephen would know a lot more about it than I do. But there's an established process of, you know, making movies, making TV programs, making music. You know, that there's an existing process. But as that happened when YouTube came along. And YouTube, to an extent, has killed television because it's democratized, you know, the content that you would normally view on the TV. So basically, the stuff that you guys are doing, the stuff that I do, people are viewing this on the TV. In fact, on my stats, it's quite weird because 3 years ago, there were very few people watching my content on TV. Now, it's flipped around the other way. Yeah. This is why I can shoot everything in 4K now, because everybody's watching them on their smart TVs. You know, that's the problem.
Yeah. We shared this thing over the Christmas period, or the holiday period. Sorry. Those, I shouldn't say Christmas, the holiday period. Where,
you can say Christmas.
Pagan holiday that the Gentiles follow.
Honestly, people send me greetings, going season's greetings. I'm just say Happy Christmas. You know, I mean, it's Christmas. It's Christmas. It's fine.
Hey, I'm Church of England every day. So every day's Christmas. You know what I mean?
If there's only one real holiday around this time of the year, it's Hanukkah. All right, let's just get
Happy Hanukkah. And don't forget, Christmas will come again. I think in Ethiopia they celebrate it now, don't they? I think.
Yeah, and the Chinese New Year and everything. And I know a girl named Christmas, and from what I understand from her boyfriend, she comes all the time. But just remember,
that's a James Bond joke. That is. That was in one of the movies.
Yeah.
Was it Pierce Brosnan who said?
I think it was Pierce Brosnan.
Only came once a year.
Yeah, that's right. Now remember, if it wasn't for my people, you'd have none of these holidays because we made them all for you. All right, so we can make money, and that goes with our space lasers, and we own all the banks and control all the media. So, what were we going to say?
We're talking about the data I shared over the holiday period.
Yeah.
Which could have been called Christmas.
Could have been called Hanukkah.
That road again. Just clearly shows that you know, that TV as we knew it when we were growing up It's finished. It's gone. And
Yeah.
YouTube is the platform on the planet for all visual content.
Yeah.
End of. Which is,
No, I
is
think
absolutely
that's
staggering.
true. I think more and more, even if it's not YouTube, it's streaming platforms. So it's basically
Well, it's
there's
YouTube.
still
YouTube are above everybody.
YouTube is
they're
above everybody.
Apple, anybody.
Yeah, but
Netflix,
I can't get
anybody.
I can't get everything I want on YouTube. So we have HBO or Max or whatever they're called this week, and we'll have like Apple, and we'll have Prime because it comes with Amazon. So there's certain platforms I have because I want to see a movie or something, or I want to watch like John Oliver or Bill Maher. They're only on one place. They're really not on YouTube. YouTube hasn't replaced it. I think what YouTube has shown people, there's an alternative. You can't get the 6 o'clock news, if you will, or CNN or this. Like you can get that on HBO now because they have it on their platform. CNN you can get blah blah. So I think YouTube's, for what it is, it's good. But once again, it goes into these people aren't really watching long form. They're watching all our shorts. That's what we were talking about when you couldn't get on.
I think it's a combination, because I think that with the fact that people are watching it on TV, because what's happening is that people are just letting it run on the TV.
Yeah.
So people just like put YouTube on, and then YouTube is on autoplay. So it'll just complete one, it will just go on to the next one, it'll go on to the next one.
Yeah.
It's like when I'm, even when I'm working at home, I have to have the TV on. If I go somewhere, if I'm in a hotel room, the first thing I do is turn the TV on, because I have to have some background noise. I have to have something on. So I think a lot of people are doing that now, and I think that's what's happening. Excuse me. But I think that there is an element of going back to earlier what you were saying about the AI and how is it going to work and how is it going to benefit. Suddenly everybody can be a movie director, a movie producer, and get their content out there. There's a democratization of the movie industry. Where that's going to leave the actual movie industry is going to be literally the $1 million question, I suppose. Probably Stephen would know more about that than I do. What do you think?
I think if you get, like, if you just say we get David a program, because David's made it. We have AI movies on our platform that David has made. He did a whole thing on vampires, which is very cool. And we were limited to what we were allowed to use, if you will. I think whether it's David or whoever, you're not going to go for an Academy Award to be played in the cinema. But if you make and Mr. Cruz, I'll apologize to you later in the lawsuit, apparently, when you sue us. But if you make a Mission Impossible 700, that's better than the ones he's making now with the action and the this and the that, and not with Tom, but with all these other people, and you make it AI generated, and 10 million people or 1 billion people on YouTube watch it. That's where I think it's going to start heading, because remember, you still make monetization on YouTube, right? You get a couple million people watch a video, you make about $20,000. So if I make a video, David tomorrow says, I'm going to get this software, I'm going to make my vampire trilogy, I'm going to make whatever it is. And he makes this movie that is just as good as anything Apple has or Warner Brothers or Universal puts out, with all make-believe characters and whatever. Like that car movie you just showed us that Google has, and it's just as good or better, and it's an intriguing story and keeps you on the edge of the seat. If it gets 1 billion views, we made more than what most Hollywood movies make, because it cost us, what, $200, let's say, or 200 pounds or whatever. Everything else is profit. Michael Eisner had the best comment ever when it comes to stuff like this. And Michael Eisner, for people that don't know, is the one who turned Disney around before it was going to go bankrupt in the 80s. Michael Eisner said the best movie he ever made was Lion King, because cartoons don't ask for residuals. Yeah. And there you go. So think through that. AI doesn't ask for residuals. Yeah. So since AI doesn't ask for residuals, and it does your voices and it does everything, all you need is a concept. You can literally take a book from, say, 1837. Yeah. That's a science fiction of the day, turn it into something today. Yeah. It's already passed all its copyright laws and all this and all that. And you could have yourself a global blockbuster. The only problem on YouTube is getting everything to translate from, if you will, English into whatever, because translation costs a lot of money.
Yeah, but that's coming too. That's coming too, though, isn't it? That's coming too on YouTube. They're about to introduce that.
Let's talk about democratizing the internet through AI. It's the same that the problem is, if I was to make a 30-minute movie, right, just like they said, just one episode, I'm probably talking about, a couple of $1,000 than it would cost to have it, at today's price to have it rendered. That's the issue. So it still requires money. It still requires some form of, of some form of wealth, money wealth, in order to push it forward. And it's
So it goes back to the question about what will happen to the existing industry, though. And it's interesting that you mentioned. Sorry.
They'll adapt.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting that you brought up Tom Cruise, and I
Right.
thought that was very interesting. What is the appeal of Tom Cruise movies compared to, say, the Avengers movies? Everything in Avengers that you see, for example, as spectacular as it is, as exciting as it is, as unreal as it is, well, it's literally unreal. It's all CGI.
CGI.
You know that.
Yeah.
It's all green. Yeah. And one of the appeals of watching a Tom Cruise movie is like, he's doing it. He's out there doing that. He's out there actually doing it.
And now they make movies about him doing it.
Yeah, and I think that there is going to be, when we go down this AI route, and there's going to be all this AI content, and we're going to love it. We're going to lap it up. We're going to love it. But at some point, it's going to go full circle where we're going to go, yeah, we've had enough of this. We want realism. We want the real stuff back. Yeah. And I think then his line of doing things, or his way of doing things, might then come back round. And I think that's what would actually save the real film industry, if you like.
Yeah, but he's the only. And I know other actors do I know Matt Damon said he does his stunts in Jason Bourne and and all this stuff. But now
Keanu Reeves recently was interviewed. It's like, would you do another John Wicks? And he said, well, the heart is willing, but the knees aren't.
That's right, because it's like there's a lot of work, and they are making a John Wick 5, so apparently they gave him enough money for his knees. But I mean, think about this: when he hung out that airplane, they did a 10-minute video on how that stunt was done. When he jumped the mountain in the last Mission Impossible movie, they did a 30-minute thing that they put on YouTube so you could see it. And you're like, then you go see the movie and you're like, oh, that's cool. Because you could you saw how they CGI'd the ramp, but him going, you're like, no, that's Tom. Because I saw the thing. Yeah. Like all his stuff is cool. The Burj Khalifa, when he did the thing on there, Matt Damon said he was having dinner with him, and I thought this was the coolest thing. He said to Tom Cruise, he said, so what, how did you do that? He goes, I wanted to do this stunt for years and blah, blah, blah. And he said, my safety guy says, it can't be done. It's not safe. And then Matt Damon says, well, what did you? He says, I got another safety guy. I mean, he said, that's like the way he thinks. So I'm like, okay, so as his safety guy, he's going to do it.
Yeah.
Right. Like the helicopter stunt where he was doing the helicopter through the mountains and hanging on a thing. He's going to do it. You just have to figure out how he does it the safest. And to your point, I like going to the theater to see his movies because I know that when whether it's in the car, whether he's in the airport, whatever he's doing, even Top Gun, he was flying the planes.
He flies them. He actually flies them.
He's a real pilot. And so, they showed you how he would fly stuff and whatever. And some of it, of course, was studio stuff. But a lot of it was, the actors were in the back of a real F-16 with real fire. And it makes it's the authentication or that makes you get excited. So I think that's where AI will not have the advantage. However, the advantage of AI will be if I wanted to, I go, you know what, guys, we're going to do a brown car epic adventure in space.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, no one's going to fly the three of us to space, number one. And number two, David gets seasick. And you're just old. So it's not going to happen. So we can do now this whole epic thing on the moon. We can have a car chase on the moon. We can do whatever, aliens, whatever we want to start. And it costs us, we'll say, 50 pounds a month to make our AI.
That's right, yeah.
And people, like to David's point and to your point, I think for a couple of years, people are like, that's awesome. It's great, blah, 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 blah. And then there's going to have to be a new Tom Cruise because Tommy's my age.
Yeah, he's 60 something now, isn't he?
He's 62. Yeah. And, Tommy's not going to keep jumping out of stuff. I mean, like Keanu Reeves said, the knees, they give you even Matt Damon said they wanted to do another Jason Bourne. He said, the first one, he wasn't that bad. Then the second one, he said, took a little longer to heal. And by the third one, he goes, yeah, no, like I'm too old to get thrown and beaten up.
It is quite funny because these movies are a lot more demanding than people think. Because even the Roger Moore era, I was watching a documentary on Roger Moore, and everybody's kind of dismisses Roger Moore as he wasn't that sick. But actually, the first movie that he did, he seriously got injured because he was doing the boat sequence that they did. Boat chase. So he crashed the boat.
Yeah.
So he was actually doing it, and he broke his teeth and stuff like that. He was in hospital, and then of course another sequence he did was the man with the golden gun.
Yep.
And he got his ass burnt, because he jumped out of the chair too late. When the sequence where he puts the gun underneath the table and he fires it, and then the chair explodes. Well, he was a fraction of a second too late jumping out of the chair. So basically, his ass caught on fire. So you have to have So these things they do take a toll.
Yeah. Maybe that will be the new genre then. It'll be people want to go and see classic movies, and they'll redefine classic movies by classic movies include real people.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's what will happen. I think that we will embrace AI. We will love it, and it'll give an opportunity for you, me, and I can turn my books into movies or whatever.
Right.
But I think at some point, the way that the movies will survive is by saying, no, we're doing. You go back to 1978, and when they put out the first Superman movie, and the whole tagline for that movie was "You'll believe a man can fly," and you did. You did, because those sort of effects had never been seen until that point. Like nowadays, it's like every movie has people flying, no big deal. But at that time in 1978, to see Christopher Reeves fly off a building and then literally land on the pavement, not like he's flying and cut, he's landed. No, landing on the pavement. You were like, oh my God, he's flying, And I think that sense of realism, that sense of like, oh, it can actually, it's being done for real.
Maybe that'll be how it all gets split up. That there'll be people who just be, in the AI genre. So, okay, everything AI, that's fine. I'm sure the porno industry are going to jump in before anybody anyway, and produce endless amounts of content.
David, you have done. So you've done movies. So, I mean, how have you find the progress of, since you started doing this to what is available now and where you can see it going?
AI movies, basically, I was using a very primitive form of AI software, which enabled me to link all this stuff together and link all the link elements of clips of films, which I could clip together, and the AI would iron out the creases and iron out the joints to a little bit. I'd love to make complete AI movies. I've still got a whole trilogy of vampire trilogies in my, and horror in my head to do. But, it's a money thing. It's like I say, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 euros, because you have to buy all this rendering time. I mean, it's great to get all this stuff. You get all this stuff like 30 seconds. Oh, it only costs like 20 credits. How much is a credit? Oh, 50, 60 cents a credit or $1 a credit. So how long is a 30-minute movie going to cost?
Yeah.
So you're still talking about, production companies using it. So in many respects, it's lowered the bar, but not lowered the bar for people like me, who would be like a pig in the proverbial sticky brown stuff.
So what do you think needs to change? Does the pricing needs to come down, which obviously economically it probably will do as the scale grows, or does there need to be a proper business model, such as a YouTube model, for it to be viable for people like us to then make that content?
Well, I think YouTube gives us the platform now. As Steve said, every time we put anything up, including this, we have to say yay or nay to AI content. And if it's yay, then it'll get flagged up again by YouTube. And good, like that. That's fair enough. But yeah, where are we going to go with that? If the price comes down and down and down, it's more of a hardware problem at the moment.
But the thing is like I mean, again, it's a bit of a gamble. You'd have to work out the odds of it. But as Stephen said, if you do create this masterpiece of an AI movie and you stick it up on YouTube and you get 1 billion views, I mean that's paid for itself. But that's the initial chance that you're having to take, I suppose.
Yeah, well, I put the original films up, and I think one of them got like 15,000 or something. well, considering that Stephen and I literally kind of, put it together, and he was doing the text bit and promoting it, whatever. You think, okay, yeah, we'll take that for something which was cut and paste. But yeah, somebody somewhere has to run that, pick up the rendering costs when you're producing these AI movies. And that, of course, you say, it's like every business, like every gold rush, the bucket and spade company in this particular gold rush are the data centers that are charging you to render your AI dreams.
So I think in the interim, how do we see this progressing? Because I think that rather than just AI and rather than just pure movie making, I think that existing movie makers are probably best placed to take advantage of the developments in AI to make up for the budgets that say would have gone into building sets or going to locations.
Yeah. Oh, I agree.
Et cetera.
But they do that now, though. If you look at all to your point, the Avengers or the Marvel Universe or DC comic, I mean, if you look at when they're making it, it's nothing but a whole bunch of green screens down a street or a green screen on a soundstage, and it's like, here's a rock, stand on it, don't move too much. So they've already embraced AI, if you will, with this CGI stuff. I think what you're going to get is you'll get more, unless it's the Tom Cruise movie, because he wants to go to space and really make a movie. But I mean, like, you're going to get more, I think, grandiose things that you can do with it.
I would agree with that.
To David's point, to your point about for the average guys like us, I think what's going to happen is somebody that's doing these AI movies with that type of a company that's charging stupid amounts for like 10 seconds of credits is going to realize that there's 8 billion people on the planet, and probably 1 billion of them all want to be movie producers for $200 a month, let's say, or $100 a month. And they're going to be like, let's give them 3 or 4 hours every month for, I'm making up a number, $100. Instead of charging the stupid number and 50 people are using us a month, we can have 1 million people and we'll make 10 times more. Whoever does that first, and if their AI is really good, that's when you'll start seeing the movies, if you will, on AI, the creation getting better and better and better. And it just won't be a Hollywood studio. It'll be like David, if you will, in his garage, or some 14-year-old somewhere doing it. To your other point, yes, YouTube's coming up with translation service, but I know that they've had it for a while, and we've looked at translation, and they're like, oh yeah, it's only this much. And I'm like, it's that much for, it's like $50. I'm like, that's not bad, but it's for 30 minutes. And then you're done. Then it's another. And I'm like, we do so many hours. It would cost us thousands of dollars every month to translate into
tens of thousands
to translate into like 40 languages for people. So we're like, yeah, English is good. So when YouTube gives it away for free, and I think that's why they're trying to, because what they're realizing is that people may want to watch this, but they don't speak English, and they may want to watch it in, whether it's in Hindi or in Spanish or in Portuguese, whatever it is, German, and now they can. That just increases the advertising that YouTube gets to charge, and B, everything else. So I think once all that comes together, let's say in the next 5 years, then to both of your points earlier, then YouTube really will kill. And when I say kill television, I mean it will kill, like, not to have it on TV, but will really kill TV, because then everything you want is on YouTube in any language you want, in any content and format. And I think then the industry, including Hollywood, if you will, or Bollywood or China, then it starts to change. And I think if Google and YouTube see that, that'll it.
So overall, are we saying that for content creators like us, this is all good news? Because, because as the scalability increases and the prices come down, or if somebody comes up with that, $100 membership, you get 30 minutes a month, go and do what you want to do, then suddenly that gives us all opportunities to potentially create all of these movies and all of these videos that we couldn't do before, have them translated automatically by YouTube into multiple languages, and theoretically go and become billionaires.
Yeah. I think the latter, actually. I think you touched what Steve touched upon as well. I think probably if you look at where the business model is for all creators, it may be in the short term is to have, because now you can get your subtitles up in quite a lot of languages, just for this stuff, but to have it instantly translated, dubbed like a German movie, whoever can offer that as a service to creators. I mean, it opens us up.
And in your own voice as well. Don't forget. Yeah. This is the thing, because when you dub movies at the moment, is done by different actors in different voices.
Yeah.
But these automatic dubbings will be done in the same voice.
Exactly. So some guy sitting in a cave, in the middle of nowhere, is watching this in his own language. I mean, what does that do for us as a channel? I mean, talk about global. I mean, that's like mega global.
And the potential of that was something that we've actually seen by this, funny little show that started off in Korea, Squid Games, that suddenly has become a global phenomenon simply because it got translated into other languages. I mean, it shows you the potential of that, right?
Well, I will tell you that Hero, the one we spoke about earlier, they have a translation service that call centers use. And what their translation service does is like you can speak whatever your language is, and I speak my language. So let's just say we're Chinese and English. When I speak to you, you hear my voice in Mandarin. And when you speak back to me, I hear your voice in English. So I said to them, why can't you do this for YouTube? So one of their projects now is to how to like go to whether it's Netflix or YouTube and say, okay, you can put our technology on your platform, and brown car guy comes in and says, I want to hear this in whatever. Pick your favorite language.
Punjabi,
just say it's Hindi.
Whatever.
Punjabi, sure.
Yeah.
And it does that. And you say, okay, so then you're going to hear us speak, but in your language, and you're going to be like, but it's our voice, and it does it instantaneously. So the technology's there. It's just a matter of, do people and companies want to pay for it and install it is part of the issue. And on the AI side,
how much data, how much bandwidth you need to do that, for them.
Well, how is YouTube figuring out that bandwidth question when they're going to be offering this for free anyway? Because that means there's going to be millions and millions of videos that are going to be automatically translated by YouTube.
Or what they may do, if they're very clever, of course, is you get it in your own language in your own country. But if you want it in different languages, you have to pay for it.
That, or they're going to give it, it's going to be in tiers. Like, Mr. Beach is the one who's been using the Google translation service now for 4 years.
Oh, congratulations to Mr. Beach for having a complete turkey. Now he's moved across to terrestrial TV anyway.
Okay, anyway.
Oh, yeah.
He can sue me.
On Netflix, right?
He can sue me. Amazon. He can sue me.
Anyway, so my point is, though, they gave him the translation service 4 years ago. And now I think they're trying to roll it out to whatever. So if our channel had 100 million people subscribing and had 70, 80 million views every time we put something out, YouTube and Google will be knocking on our door going, please, please, please. So I think what they're going to do is you're going to be like, all right, if you're at this level, we're going to give you this. If you're at this level, we give you this. And I think so when we're at like our 100,000 level, we may not get like A, B, or C. We may get the D level of whatever, but the D level will still be better than the people that get no level. So, and it just depends. And as we all know, their algorithms change every other day. So what works today with like a 30-second short, all of a sudden now people want, 2-minute shorts. Really? So the AI we use for shorts, and it's a wonderful company. Kudos to them. We had issues over the weekend. They worked on all weekend to fix it. So I love them. They're wonderful. I'll think of their name later. All right, hold on. Let me give you their name. I'm going to screw it up.
You might as well.
Opus Clip. OPUS, Opus Clip. We could be an affiliate, but we don't want to. I don't need to take any money. But Opus Clip, if you're trying to make shorts for your channel, the best in the world. But I think that's where we're heading. We need to figure out how to go from A to Z.
Yeah.
And I don't know, if YouTube and Google have figured that out yet.
Yeah. I mean, I think that even for me as a content creator, I think it's, because people have said to me, for example, is like, why don't you do your videos in Urdu or Hindi? And then that would open it up to the Pakistani or the Indian market. And the reason I don't do them is because my Urdu Hindi is so terrible that nobody would be able to understand what I'm saying. It's embarrassingly bad. It's so bad that I don't actually speak in public at all. But the potential is undeniable. It is undeniable. And why even stop at Urdu Hindi? If you look at the Indian subcontinent, you have so many dialects, from Urdu Hindi, Punjabi, Gujarati, Tamil, it just goes on and on and on. So suddenly if you find yourself being able to be translated into all of those languages, as an Asian, as a brown car guy, I mean, suddenly that would be opening up a whole load of markets for me. So I can't wait for this to come along, It's like,
well, and there's 7,000 known dialects. I know that because I've read the Hero report. So they're trying to get it to in the next 3 years where their technology will talk in every dialect. Right now, I think they have 100, which isn't bad. That people really talk. But to your point, I would love it that if someone says can go, oh, what's this sermon from the German and they're in XYZ country and they're like, oh, I can have it translated in my language and they click a little button. Now, whether they hear it in our voice or it's a robotic voice, I don't care. But then they hear it and they go, oh, I like this show. When's it on? I want to watch it. I want to watch more Brown Car Guy. I think YouTube is finally realizing that, I read an article that their revenue has gone down from advertising last year. So I think they realized, oh, we better do something. So now they have to start rolling out stuff to not just, Mr. Beats. They have to roll it out to everybody.
Yeah.
Like, how do we get more people to watch? Oh, we have to translate more. How can we do this? We have to get these guys to be able to do more AI. How do we do? And I think they're waking up because all these other platforms now are coming online that are YouTube-ish.
Yeah.
And they reach out to us and go, we would love your content. I'm like, take our content. I don't care.
Yeah.
I mean,
no, but even the existing platforms are, because, like on Instagram, you can go up to, I think, 20 minutes now. And on same goes for, I think on TikTok, you can go up to an hour if you want to. So they already gone into long form content.
Yeah.
But it's interesting with YouTube losing ad revenue. I wonder if it's because of their emphasis on shorts, because you make less money on shorts, right?
For shorts is, I watched the thing from a couple who did. They had a short that got 2 million views, and the guy was like, their video got 1 million point something, and their short got 2 million. And he was like, "Do you know how much money we made?" I'm thinking, I would love to hear this. The short with 2 million views made $29.
Yeah.
The million plus video that was like a 30-minute video made them $29,000. So YouTube. Like all of a sudden when things start clicking, I noticed like, oh my God, our shorts are getting 10,000 views and clicking. And then all of a sudden the next day we're down to like 6 because they changed the algorithm. It's like, oh, let's change it. Stop changing it every day. Why don't we change it every quarter? And then you don't tell anybody that you're doing it. I'm sure they told Mr. Beats. They don't tell us. So when they change it, then all of a sudden, like David will call me up and goes, I saw on the forum that they're changing it. Or Rizzo will tell me, we need to go from 30-second shorts to, 2 minutes and 10 seconds now. Or we need to go from 2 minutes and 10 seconds down to 50. It's like, so they don't make it. I know you're trying to mix it up, but some people go there.
It's a moving target. It's a moving target. You just don't know where it's going. The other thing about translation though, which I think is, the reason why we've got the dubbing that's only now starting to happen and stuff,
right,
is because it's not always been easy to actually translate. So I found this way back when I was doing Car Magazine in the UAE, and we had Car Arabic for a sum total of 3 months. It just didn't work. And part of the reason it didn't work was because the translations weren't easy to do. And even now, like I write for a website in the UAE, and they take my English version, but they also do an Arabic version. And a couple of times the editor said the Arabic guy is really complaining. He said, because the way that I've written the article, because there's wordplay and there's, there's suggestions in there, there's stuff in there. And he said it's a brilliant article, but it's really hard to translate because I can't get the same sort of context out of it, And he just wondered, like, did we need AI to get to a level where it would indicate some sort of a correct translation of what was meant by the original text?
Right. I think we
can get over that. I think we can get over that. I think if if it was, 80%, 90% of your language, to start off with, people would still embrace that, and live with that bits, and it will improve. Because I mean, I don't know if you ever.
You know what I mean, David? You know what I mean. As writers, sometimes we like to play with words in a way. So whether you're using alliteration or poetic rhyme or something, sometimes you start to play in words with certain inflections and stuff, so that you can get across a point or a message in a way that isn't literal.
They don't work. Simple as that. I mean, I'll just get slightly off topic, but going back to the problems of translation. I've spoken to there was an Italian lady that came to one of the Christmas family get-togethers here, and she didn't speak a word of Dutch, and she got all this noise around her, and having been through that journey, and I always say to people ask me, how long did it take you to speak Dutch, and I will say, well, it took me 3 years to understand a question, another 2 years to answer it. But you just have all this noise all around you. And I said to her, it's all this blah, 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 blah. It's all this double Dutch. And then a couple of days ago, I got pulled over the coals here in house, and Annette said to me, "Yeah, why did you say that to her?" I said, "What? Double Dutch?" She said, "You know what that means?" And I said, "No." She said, "That means to take the pill and to use a condom at the same time." And I said to her, and I just looked at her, she said, "You didn't know that, did you?" And I said, "No, I didn't."
Yeah.
And I get out the old Google and I go to the Oxford English Dictionary, but there you have it. Something as innocent as double Dutch, turned.
Yeah.
It's now. I'm now. She said, "Well, you're now a dirty old man, now, aren't you?"
Well,
What do you mean now? What do you mean
were
now?
a dirty old man well before you said double Dutch, my friend. Let's not get carried away here that all of a sudden double Dutch made you the dirty old man. We've seen AI movies, so calm down. We've seen the AI movies.
I rest my case, Counselor. I rest my case.
But no, to answer your question, I think AI will make translation. I see the stuff that Hero translates, and to your point, it takes very difficult sentences or statements that somebody makes and translates it into the verbiage that they'll understand, which I thought was interesting. They also do it. You can actually answer questions before you use their technology, saying, "What's your education level? What do you do for a living?" So if you're a mechanic, for example, right? And I'm a finance guy, and we're talking about how we're going to invest your investments. Instead of coming across with all finance terms where most people are going to look at you like the RCA dog, it'll come across in car vernacular. We're like, "Oh, I get it. It's like rebuilding a 1956 Pontiac." But yeah, it's the same time. And so it I don't want to say it dumbs it down, but it makes it so you understand what they're saying. Yeah. So I'm fascinated by that. So to your point about AI, yes, I think AI over the next 5 years will make YouTube and everything else where I can go to Netflix and go, "Oh, I want to see this Chinese movie, but I want to listen to it, not have to read the subtitles." Like sometimes I'll see, "This looks like a great flick," so I can't do anything because I have to watch it because I have to read the subtitles.
Yeah.
But now if I can just go, "Oh, let them translate it so I can get the background noise and let's just enjoy the beauty of it," then it becomes okay. So I think that's where AI.
It's very interesting what you just said there. So does that mean that, especially in terms of being able to translate it into the language or the style of speaking that the audience would understand, does that mean that if you're of a younger, they look at the demographics of who is watching the videos, if they turn that's us three old farts and they turn our language into youth speak, and we're down with the youths, then does that would be quite extraordinary if that was the case.
From what I'm gathering, the AI can do that, because remember
they did that for an advert for an electric company, a white goods company before Christmas. Some guy was doing this, speak talk. But going back to the point I made a little bit earlier on, I think that YouTube doesn't realize that we will accept that it's not quite how it should be. I've been living here for 40 years, and I can tell you now, even today, the subtitles from English into Dutch do not reflect what's being said. And for some reason or another, although Dutch people speak fabulous English, or most of them do, young people do, they just accept it. Because that's the way of, so if they lose the plot a bit, they just pick it up again in the subtitles. So, I just say to YouTube, bite the bullet, give us the opportunity to have this all in different languages and see where it takes us. Because I think it would be fabulous to be able to, to have this in all sorts of different languages.
I think it opens up a new and interesting door. And as AI becomes more cognizant, so AI today, when you say it's AI, it's not really artificial intelligence. Really, it's just LLM and ASM. All that is they've given it books and they put everything into an Excel spreadsheet. Hero and other companies I know of are making it cognizant, where it's going to start thinking and learning on its own. So when we're speaking, it'll say, "Oh, that inflection has to be here," not just like, "Oh, on Excel spreadsheet 12,000,006, this means that." So as it develops, I think that's where you'll start seeing it. But I think before I worry about translation, to get back to both the points of earlier, I think somebody's got to come up with I mean this in the nice sense, a cheaper $50 a month way to make a 30-minute or get like unlimited use or whatever it might be, AI movie stuff. Because really, all these shows are great. I know in China they use a lot of these shows to learn how to speak English. Good luck with that. That's true, because they want English, and what better place? So, but I'm just saying, for YouTube to go to the next step, and I'm assuming they got guys thinking about this, or if not, they will after this show. That's the way they're going to kind of have to do it that way. They're going to have to look at this and go, we need to be able to make AI movies so an average person can make a cool movie that somebody will watch, because it may get 1 million views, you don't know. And then the advertisers, YouTube makes money, the advertise. So it becomes this whole thing. And and I think we're getting to that point where they have to come up with the new secret sauce, because YouTube's kind of getting old.
Yeah.
And they're getting competitors.
I mean, even not even that far, but I think that if somebody is from YouTube is watching this and they're looking at how they can introduce, or somebody from the AI companies is watching this, then for example, as somebody that reviews cars, I'm often out there on my own reviewing a car. So if I film a car review, I film myself and I film myself inside the car. So I can't do the whole TV style review where they have the car driving along a beautiful road and they have the external. I can't do all of that because I'm on my own. But however, if suddenly there was the opportunity to say, right, this is the car I was driving, this is where I was, give me some external shots. Wow. All of a sudden that would elevate my review to a whole different, to basically a Top Gear level. So that's another thing, that this is like an interim thing where you combine these different technologies to create something that that is better than what you would have otherwise ended up with.
Yeah. I think that's kind of where we're there. Like I said, over the next 5 years, by 2030, if we come back and look at this discussion of this show, the three of us are going to be like, wow. Like, it's either going to be like we were way off or we were spot on, and it's even surpassed what we thought.
Amazing. We'll have our Gary Vee moment.
I'm glad you're my financial advisor, Stephen, because we're either going to make money or we're going to lose money. I mean, that's the choice we've got.
Well, either way, it's his fault.
It's a lose-lose for me no matter what, but I appreciate that. Thank you. So, boys, it's been fun. Brown Car Guy has to go review a golf cart, I think. I'm very excited about that. By the way, your BYD review that's on our channel did very well. So,
cool. Which one is that?
The one about the Chinese BYD?
I reviewed several of them, but BYD is probably now, I think it is now the biggest electric car.
I was going to ask you actually, Shazad, because I've used up everything you sent me. Thank you so much. You can find them all hyperdrive highlights on the channel featuring Brown Car Guy. But it would appear that the electric car reviews are the ones that people are picking up on.
Oh, cool.
That's BYD.
That's really interesting to know.
If you've got some more of that, please upload it, and then we'll get them on the.
So actually, another question here before we go, just to the audience, actually, is like, I know that one of the things we do on this particular program is that although I'm the Brown Car Guy, we tend to avoid talking about cars. But however, having said that, that doesn't mean I can't talk about cars and I won't talk about cars. So if the audience would like to, if the audience has questions, or if they would like us to discuss cars more or the automotive industry, then let us know. And then maybe we'll do a show about that or something.
There you go. And two things before we do go. Riza asked, of course he would ask this, what year is it? For him, it's 1823, just to let you know. Number two, the reason I brought up the BYD interview or the review on our channel is because if you don't know who Brown Car Guy is, you can watch his interview, and then there's a link you can click and go over to his channel, and you can see all his interviews. We get like 10% of them. So you can always go see Brown Car Guy on his channel, or you can catch him here on Sermon on the German, and then you can always catch him on, I think it's Hypercar on our channel as well.
Hyperdrive.
Thank you very little. So you can see him there as well. So there's tons of ways you can see Brown Car Guy if you don't see him here. If you can't figure it out, send us a message and we'll get you to his channel. And then there you go. And other than that, our friend Riza says, I guess we're asking a car question now. Have Japanese cars caught up in quality with the rest of the world?
And let's ask Reza if his spelling has caught up with the rest of the world, because his spelling of Japanese maybe needs a bit of work.
Wow. So basically, the real question is: have jalapenos cars caught up with the quality? I assumed it was Japanese. So let me ask this: is the jalapenos caught up with the rest of the world, or is the Japanese car manufacturers caught up with the rest of the world?
Forget about the Japanese. The Chinese have caught up with the rest of the world, honestly, now, because we're talking about BYD, and BYD is now the number one selling brand for electric cars in the world, and China are supplying 70% of the entire planet's electric cars at the moment. 70% of them are coming from China.
Yep. So let's answer Riz's question about Japanese cars. So have they caught up though, or their quality is still?
Well, yeah. I mean, like I said, in the hierarchy of stuff, if you go, Japanese, then Korean, and then Chinese. And if you're saying that the Chinese now are producing cars at A grade level, then of course the Japanese were surpassing the Germans back in the 90s. You remember when they came out with the LS400, they had crisis meetings at Mercedes. They were like, oh, what is this? What have they done? It's like, oh, wait. And when the Honda came out with the NSX, Porsche had to, Ferrari had to rethink the 348 Ferrari completely. And then in record time, they had to rush out the F355. So, yeah, the Japanese are way ahead of the game. It's about the Chinese now. The Japanese now are actually on the back foot because they're now struggling. Because that's why you're having these things. Again, we're going into the car industry now. But, for example, this year, you will see a merger between number 2 and number 3 biggest car manufacturers in Japan, Honda and Nissan. It's incredible. Yeah. Who would ever have thought that would happen? But that's the only thing they can do in order to survive. So the Japanese are on the back foot now. It's all about China now.
Oh, I know. And Trump made a statement that if you put $1 billion or more in the United States, that they'll streamline you. I've talked to the guys at BYD. I said, listen, you have cash, come in with 5 or 6, 7, $10 billion, build a plant so daddy can get his supercar from you. I'll be very happy. That is the only electric supercar I would want to buy is the BYD one.
They are very, very good cars. Well, I mean, you talk about BYD, but what is it? Xiaomi is another manufacturer. It's funny. Who's the CEO of Ford, Jim Farley, isn't it? And he is on record as saying that his daily driver is currently one of those Chinese electric cars. That's what he's driving.
They're good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now here's
it's incredible.
And on that bombshell.
No. We got a question from the fans. We're going to do.
Talk
about. So it's only we only have one fan. Hey, when will we stop driving cars and be driven? Pick the year.
I think within the next 5 years.
Okay, there you go.
I think it's happening. I used to say longer, but I think with the advances in AI and the advances in sensor technology, I think it's coming very, very soon. In fact, here in the UK, they have made it law. In 2026, they have legally allowed autonomous cars to be on the road. In 2026, they will be legally allowed to be driven on the road or to drive themselves, rather.
That's going to be awesome. There'll be a lot of dead people. I'm going to get some policies. Anyway, everybody, thank you for watching. We will see you. Riza, what's your last question? I can't even say that, buddy.
It's a statement.
Anyway, it's a statement. Yeah, that was a question. Anyway, Riza, for people that don't know, is on Habano Saturday. He will be with us Saturday, this Saturday, about cigars. Brown Car Guy, better known as Sermon from the German on our channel. Thank you so much. As always, it's good to see you. We will see you next month. And to all the fans, happy, healthy New Year. We know we're 6 days into it, but happy, healthy New Year. And we'll see you all next month with the Brown Car Guy. Don't forget to like and subscribe not only to our channel, but to the Brown Car Guy's channel as well. Gentlemen, is that it? Are we good?
We're good.
All right, guys. Cheers, everybody.